Welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. You are not going to want to miss this interview that I have on deck. So if you're watching on X or Facebook, come on over to rumble.com/Hayley to watch the show in full. Join all my homies in the live chat, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. The water's fine. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Tell a friend, subscribe everywhere so that you never miss a show. Before we get into this, I want to tell you about Blackout Coffee. Let's talk about real convenience without sacrificing quality. You already know I'm a huge fan of Blackout Coffee. This is how I start my day. And if you are like me and you need that caffeine fix fast in the morning, their coffee pods are a total game changer. These are not your average grocery store pods. Blackout pods are packed with fresh roasted, bold coffee made right here in Florida. They work fast with those single serve pod brewers. They are fast. They are easy. They are actually delicious. I love it. I love all their flavors. I know you will too. You just pop in one of their coffee pods. You got a strong, smooth cup of coffee in just seconds. So if you're racing out the door, juggling your kids, this is your new morning lifesaver. And the best part is they ship nationwide, so no matter where you live, you can have Florida fresh coffee at your door in just days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll and use code SCROLL at checkout for 20% off your first order. Put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. And tonight, I am honored to be joined by none other than former MLB closer, John ROCKER. Scroll, I want to let you know, first and foremost, that my producer Andy is a huge fan. He has been fangirling all week leading up to this.
I'm fired up, John.
He is wearing his
Thank you, Andy.
He is wearing his Atlanta Braves jersey, and he has a question for you. So before we even get into this, I need to give Andy his moment with you.
All right, come on, Andy.
Hey, John, excited, man. Thanks for joining the show, brother.
Braves
We really
stunk this year, so that's the answer. They were terrible. I'm not sure why.
Well, I don't know. We didn't start good and we didn't end good.
No.
So
right on both those counts.
Hey, a lot of people don't know, man. Lefty, intimidating lefty on the mound, coming in the bottom of the ninth, throwing 97 inside, throwing sliders to right. I mean, nasty stuff, man. A lot of people don't know. You, bro, over 20 innings in the postseason, 0 ERA.
21 2/3 to be exact.
0 ERA. So people listen to chat like John was a legit relief pitcher coming in. Man, listen, take me back. I got to know this. 1999 NLCS, Game 3 in Shea Stadium. You come in, you get the big out, Braves win in New York.
There.
What was the atmosphere like? I've always seen this on YouTube. The atmosphere coming off the mat. You were letting some New York people know a little bit about what you were feeling with the body language. But what was it like pitching in those big games for the Braves under Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni and that network of Braves?
No losing at NLCS. We're expected to be in the World Series every year. And thirdly, this is one thing that I really haven't talked about much. I don't think a lot of people know. Growing up in Macon, Georgia, 70-mile station, and channel 17, Macon, Georgia. So me and my dad used to watch games, probably 120 games a year. And, I took those games very personally. I mean, if you think back, if you played sports in high school and they were a big deal to you, it was a big deal to beat your crosstown rival because, that's the guys you played with in the neighborhood, you went to church with. It was important who had bragging rights for the whole year. I took the Braves game that seriously. I mean, it wasn't just I'm getting paid to play. It was this is my team, man. This is my team from 5 years old. Just like I went to high school in the same school from first grade through 12th grade. The same school. So by the time I was 10th, 11th, 12th grade, playing football, playing baseball, on that high school level, I took the games very personally. And so when I'm playing in the NLCS against the Mets, I'd hate the Mets since I was 6 years old. I'm taking that stuff personally, man, absolutely personally, just like I would. I'm trying to beat my best friend who's on the other team so I can talk trash the next 11 and a half months. It was the same thing. So, yeah, I took those games very personally. So a lot of emotions, coming out to save a game like that.
Man, I don't know you cherish those moments forever, dude. Thanks for joining the Nightly Scroll. We'll talk a little baseball. We'll talk a little MAGA, and we appreciate you jumping on, brother.
I mean, John, that is really, really cool. I don't think a lot of athletes get to play for the team that they grew up as a fan of for their whole life. And, you also played for the Indians. The Indians then became the Guardians. The Braves also have, a Native American background, this mascot that they retired a while back. Are we past this cancel culture stuff as a society? Do we think that we can bring back these team names? I think we can take the cancel culture mob at this point, right?
Is as long as we stop getting into them. The cancel culture mob is like the 5-year-old at Toys R Us that throws a tantrum wanting a new toy. If mom buys them the new toy, they will keep throwing a tantrum to get what they want until mainstream society tells cancel culture, take your complaints, take all your just everything you're buzzing about and shove it right up your fat ass. That they're never going to stop. That they are literally like 5-year-old children throwing a temper tantrum. Unless you give them the back of your hand, tell them to shut up, sit down, they're never going to stop. I'll tell you a quick story. So we're talking, you brought up the Cleveland Guardians, which I refuse to call them the Guardians. I refuse to call the Redskins the Commanders. They're terrible names, first of all. If you're going to change your name,
they're horrible.
Make something better. Those are horrible names. A dear friend of mine, his name is Sean Ross. If you want to look him up, for years and years and years, he was the head of player development at the Harrah's Cherokee Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina, the Cherokee Indian Reservation, the Harrah's Casino. I used to go up there a lot, hang out there a lot. After I was on Survivor, Sean invited me to come up and like hang out with some of their high rollers and their players and stuff. Played a number of golf tournaments up there over the years, raising money for the high school up there, which the high school looks like something that should be in like Aspen, Colorado. It is freaking fantastic. All their fields are turf. The school itself is like a giant ski lodge with like big beams everywhere. I mean, it is a fantastic school they have up there. And Sean invited me about 7 or 8 years ago to go play Pinehurst in North Carolina. Go play golf, 3-day golf trip. I was there with the chief of the Cherokee Nation, the vice chief, which, a quick aside, here's the point. The vice chief of the Cherokee Nation, you know what his name was?
What was it?
Wayne. Come on, a cool name, man, not Wayne. That's something better, man. You get all this like mystique built up in your head. Oh, you're the vice chief. What's your name? My name's Wayne. Wayne Anderson.
Is that just the name that he went with? Like a name that was easier to say, maybe?
I didn't get on it. Now, the chief had a cool name. He had a cool name. I can't remember. It was very hard to pronounce. He had a cool name. But to a man, I was there with the vice chief, the chief of the Cherokee Nation. They're not, a bunch of clowns. These are, very, very serious people.
Top tier.
And probably about 10 or 12 of their elders, the tribal council, which my buddy Sean was on the tribal council as well. Over drinks, dinner, this conversation came up. To a man, every one of them, we don't give a shit. And nobody cares about that. It's just the left. These cancel culture mob idiots that want to change the name on bottles of syrup. These morons think that somehow is going to move the needle and lead to kumbaya. The chief of the Cherokee Nation, I do not care. Doesn't matter to me.
No, exactly. And if you think about it, it's totally counterintuitive because these leftist retards, they change all the logos. They change the mascots.
You can't say that. You're canceled.
They change. Oh, well, we don't do cancel culture here. So we say whatever we want. We're on Rumble, so we get to say whatever. But, these leftists, they force these changes, right? And now all the logos are white people. Because you can't, now all of the culture that they say is so important has been erased. I need to ask you, because moving to the NFL, why do the Redskins have to revamp everything? Why do they have to become, the Washington football team, the Commanders, whatever, but then the Chiefs get to stay? Is it because the NFL is rigged and the Chiefs are the clear favorite? What's going on?
The owners of the Chiefs told cancel culture to, and
right.
The owners of the Redskins, they kowtowed and tried to appease and embolden the idiots trying to do dumb stuff like this. We have to stop emboldening these people. At some point in time, you just got to punch somebody in the mouth. Like, sit down, shut up, let the adults in the room, let us control things. You just sit over there, the brats that you are, and shut the blank up.
Yeah, and they'll get over it eventually, right? They move on from all of these things. They get really angry about this, and then they move on, and then they move on, and then they move on, and they'll find something else to get mad about. So
them trying to cancel Chick-fil-A years ago, and it's just the flavor of the week. Whoever did something this week to piss them off, if they get traction, they keep pushing. If they get their faces spit in, they move on to the next thing.
Right. So speaking of the Chiefs, you had a little bit of beef with Patrick Mahomes' dad, Patrick Mahomes Sr. What happened? Why didn't that all pan out? Because I would like to see that.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you the absolute truth on this. I can't tell you the truth on this. No, we already had contracts signed. And I've known Pat forever. I've known Pat a long time. I don't have any beef with Pat. I do now because he cost us both a lot of money. But it was Pat's son's agent that basically got on him, was like, "You're not doing this. You're not embarrassing my client." And basically told him, actually, the agent sent a cease and desist to Barstool Sports and said, "Stop contacting Pat Mahomes."
Wow.
Which I don't know how you can do that unless he represents Pat Mahomes Sr., which I don't think he does.
Right. And that's
Unless he
interesting.
should have cease and desist.
It's interesting that Patrick Mahomes' agent can step in to not embarrass Patrick, but then Jackson Mahomes can go out and embarrass him all the time. It's interesting how I don't know how you could make sense of that. But, this Super Bowl coming up is, they're catching some heat because the halftime show is Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican. He doesn't have songs in English for the most part. What do you make of this? To me, this is un-American.
And I guess you're pulling from my ex post the other day. Un-American. Call it what you want. We got the lack of a better phrase, a melting pot here, and there's so many languages spoken here. I've got a lot of Puerto Rican friends. I lived in Puerto Rico 3 times playing winter ball. I was just in Atlanta. In Nashville last week, hanging out with Puerto Rican guys like Javi Lopez and Carlos Baerga, guys I played ball with. I love these guys. So not so much is to say un-American, but certainly not gelling with the vibe of what the NFL is, a manly game, a gladiator type sport. I mean, what's next? It's got to go sing the national anthem at a UFC event. Have a cross-dressing transvestite, for all lack of a better word, before the halftime show, is the first words out of your mouth are like, what?
Totally.
Where's the fucking punchline here? You could have picked somebody better. I mean, literally, I don't follow ridiculous stuff like that, mainly because I'm a grown ass man. I don't listen to anyone named Bad Bunny. I feel stupid in saying that. What's his real name? I mean, Jose Sanchez. Like, just
no idea.
Grow up, Peter Pan. So yeah, I couldn't tell you one song they sing, if you can even call it singing, but I mean, again, it's the NFL just leaning toward that woke society. They're trying to appeal to woke. NFL woke is not your fan base. Yeah. They're not. Stop it. Not as bad as you want it to be. You can't have. I'm not saying it. This person played your halftime show and expect, oh my God, we just gained 30% more viewership off the gay community and the trans community. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So what is your hell bent to try to go woke and appease? I think the last time I checked, the homosexual population in America was 3% of the population. I mean, so you're gonna I won't say pissed off, but you're gonna mildly irritate. I'm not pissed off. I am mildly irritated. When the halftime show comes on, I'll move on to something else and watch the president's interview on Fox or whatever. I'll watch that instead of the halftime show. But it's me as the base, and we don't want to see that shit.
Right.
I don't really think anybody does. Nobody's gonna be looking forward to that. Maybe 15% of the people watching, and you'll probably see a very full bathroom line and very full concessions line in the stadium of people that don't want to see that they don't want to see it live. You know what? I don't got to go pee, but I'm going. I don't want to watch this shit.
Totally. Who do you want to see as the Super Bowl halftime show? Who's your pick?
Oh God, I don't know. Obviously, got to be something current, and I'm old. I'll be 51, and people are like, "Oh, that ain't old. You're just a baby." I feel old. I'm still. You see behind me, my Kiss painting there.
That would be cool.
That's my era. Is Kiss and Motley Crue and huge White Stripes fan, huge Jack White fan. Would love to see something like that, but they're trying to, of course, keep it mainstream. As far as mainstream is sort of that pop, edgy type stuff. I don't like any of them.
Yeah. But there's probably a lot of NFL fans who are just like you, who don't want to see this Bad Bunny stuff. They do want to see something along those lines. So maybe they'll wise up, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Speaking of shows, right? UFC is planning to do an event with the White House. Liberals are all upset about this, but if you remember, President Biden
what are they not upset about?
Well, that's very true. But President Biden had some gay event, and they had a tranny flash his fake boobs on the white lawn. Liberals had no problem with that. But I would take a UFC fight over a tranny peep show any day, wouldn't you?
You ever been to a tranny peep show? Not until you try it. Until you try it now. Yeah, I mean, obviously it does make more sense. But again, the Biden administration was quite good at it kowtowing and reaching out for the LGBTQRLNFTB crowd. I mean, how many more letters can you add? You're like an acronym. I don't know. And this is more mainstream. So there's a lot more fans out there of Dana White and UFC that want to see some weird drag show on the White House lawn. Like, how do you even think of some shit like that?
Well, I can think of some more letters that they have to add to the acronym. It's TYLENOL. I think they're going to have to.
And don't forget the W, which is stand for fucking weird. just put that one in there. FW, fucking weird. I should have that one in there.
If we had our way,
that
if only.
That kind of covers all of them. That sort of covers all of them.
If we had our way.
The LGBT, just put the FW crowd.
Well, we finally have a sports lover in the White House, and you're a big Trump supporter. What drew you to him initially? What were the policies that you thought, this is my guy?
What happened to me years and years ago, and people say that I was the first one to get canceled, and maybe right. I was. I'm not sure that. I do remember a guy named Jimmy the Greek back in the day that lost his job. I'm not going to get into it. It was a very long time ago. It was probably the late 80s. So maybe not. Maybe I was the second. And I just remember, in that era back there and playing with a lot of guys, we would have a lot of conversations, on the bus, on the plane and stuff like that. But as soon as the camera got rolling or a reporter with a pen, I mean, it was right back to cookie cutter answers and just vanilla because everybody was terrified. You couldn't say what you wanted to say. And not that a lot of my teammates were delving into political type things, but John Smoltz did one time, and John said something about gay marriage, and they blasted John for a good 3 or 4 months about that. And it's the quintessential thing when you're employed by someone. I was employed by the Atlanta Braves and Ted Turner. You gotta kiss ass. You gotta grovel. Those guys write my check and they're pissed off at me. I can't have that, and I gotta toe the company line. They tell me to kiss ass and apologize. By God, I gotta do it. And I was warning, and I'm sure a lot of people were, not just me, but I experienced it. So I was really like, this is what needs to happen. There needs to be some badass bitch one of these days that has the F you in his blood, has the here's the direction we're going, and I don't care what the hell you say about it. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to go in the direction I think the country needs to go in. And if it offends you, go to blank. But a person like that who is beholden to no one. He does not have a boss. He is the boss. There is no, you want to keep your job, boy, you better say this to these people and you better mean it. And Trump came along and was that guy. I mean, I look at Ozzie Guillen, dear friend of mine. I played with Ozzie Venezuelan guy. Ozzie was managing the White Sox. I think this came first, and Ozzie said something homosexual, while in White Sox uniform as the manager, and the Chicago Sun-Times fired his ass. I think he was talking about one of the commentators, one of the, I don't know if it was an ESPN commentator or something, but he made some snide comment of a gay overtone to it, and they fired him almost immediately. Then he goes down to, and of course, he did the whole apology tour thing as well. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Just you can just pass that speech around to everybody, and that sounds just because it's the same speech. That's what they all sound. So we just pass it down the line here. But then Ozzie went to Miami to manage the Marlins, and I don't know how he meant it. Doesn't really matter. But he made some comment about Castro. A lot of Cubans in Miami, they didn't appreciate it. Here goes Ozzie, apology tour again. Got fired from that job too. And I was like, at some point in time, I want somebody to emerge that, yes, has got the ideas, the policies, everything else, but also has an I am beholden to no one situation in their life. And then here comes Trump, and not to mention, I mean, what a leader, just what a brilliant man. Yep. And I mean, how much does the guy sleep a day? I mean, was he sleep 4 or 5 hours a day? He just runs circles around everybody, and not a disparagement, Mr. President, but you're 78 years old. Is there some, you watch these polls, that one movie that came out a few years ago, Limitless, I think it was, where they take some little pill and all of a sudden they can stay up and study for like 7 consecutive days. And, it just makes them like their brain, like superhuman energy. I mean, in his financial, echelon of life, is there something that people like that know about that folks like us don't? And that's how they maintain and get where they are. Like, there's something that I don't know, that medical science out there. It just amazes me what he can do. So you not only get with him I don't have to answer to anybody, except the American voter, the people that vote for me. I'm pretty sure I know what they want. Here's what you're going to get. You over there, bitch all you want. I don't have to answer to you. But somebody like that also has the experience. I mean, I can remember, Oprah Winfrey interviews back in the 90s. I mean, do you want to run for president one day? I mean, he's talking about back in the 90s, the same stuff he's doing now about going after the Fed and what he would do in the Middle East with Israel. And now he's doing it, 30 some odd years later. So much experience, so much intelligence. The Wharton School of Business, the degrees he's got from there and all the experience all over the world. A lot of the leaders he's dealing with now, he's known them for 30 years just by doing developments in their country.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine just a better individual for the job he's in. But God knows, especially people like me that had been canceled, been waiting for somebody like that for a long time.
Well, it seems like it's gotten more popular now for athletes to be outspoken Republicans or Trump supporters. We see Nick Bosa running on the field last season. After the game, he had a white MAGA hat on, and he kind of photobombed an NBC report. We see Bryson DeChambeau, who's a Trump supporter. How many athletes do you think are closeted Trump supporters and they're just afraid to not come out?
Well, most athletes are type A personalities, and most type A personalities are conservatives. I see liberals as weak, feckless, sit in the corner, kind of, whimpering individuals, and they're real tough. They like all, get together. They're tough in numbers, but by themselves, they're a bunch of weak, scared, feckless people. Conservatives again are type A personalities. I think that's why you see so many liberals protesting, is because they are either don't have a job or they're like the bottom rung employee that, I could miss a few days on my, $14 an hour paying job, while the conservatives are the type A that owns the company.
Totally.
I can't be missing work today. I'm the vice president of this bank here. I can't be taken off to go, start mischief in front of the ICE detainee center. So I think I think a lot more athletes than you would think are, but then, a lot of people just want to have a basic, quiet, simple life. I don't want any noise. I've got a family. I've got kids. I don't want any, I was saw some Chipper Jones said the other day, blaming Rory McIlroy for what happened to his family at Bethpage. And he's like, you didn't know that was going to happen? Like you've been around New York, those are some rabid sports fans. And Chip's like, I purposely did not bring my family to New York for that very reason. I don't want them to get heckled and everything else. And a lot of people, they just want quiet, simple lives. I just want to play my sport as best I can, take my paycheck, go home, raise my family. I don't need, I don't need the hate mongering on social media. I don't need the reporters shoving microphones in my face and the fans booing me and throwing shit at me. And I'm just gonna blinders on and let's just play the game and go home.
It makes sense. And so
I think a lot more than you think, though.
You said that Republicans are type A, and I was thinking about this because I love the tradition of the congressional baseball game. The Republicans play the Democrats, and in years past, Republicans have been wiping the floor with Democrats. So I wanted to ask you, what is it about Republicans that makes them superior at baseball, do you think, or sports in general?
Just better athletes. I mean, think back when we were growing up, I didn't know anything really about conservative versus liberal back when I was 16 years old, but I knew who the good athletes were, and kind of I'll use the word again, weak, feckless, just sort of ineffectual, call them nerds over here that, wore 2 different color socks and, would trip going down the stairs. And now we come back around and, I've not been to one high school reunion because I think they're ridiculous. But I do keep with folks on Facebook, And yeah, the people that I grew up with, that this guy was a good athlete. This guy, always had a date to whatever dance, and he was a normal, just a normal person, good personality, good sense of humor, got along well with others. That thing. That guy now is he's the one wearing the MAGA. And you find out who they are. Well, he owns his own HVAC company, or he's started a bank, or they're successful in some right in some way. And then the person that I thought about this person in 25 years, and they pop up on Facebook, and you're like, yeah, that's about what I thought it'd be. And it was somebody that they were the I don't know, the rosy cheeked weirdo in the corner that was, picking their nose and looking at it. And you're like, good God, holy man. No friends to speak of. And, then you see, how they turned out in their 40s. And you're like, that seems about right.
Makes sense.
And they're just, and they may have like green hair now, and, they're still kind of fat and pasty and just like, yep. I consider going right where you are when you were 15 years old. Not surprised.
They call it the septum piercing theory, where if someone's got a septum piercing, that means they're a Kamala voter. They're, one of these green-haired weirdos, and it makes total sense. It's foolproof, actually. But I wanted to get your take on this, because Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the least controversial thing ever, which is there needs to be a standard. One standard, a gender neutral standard in the military. So it doesn't matter what branch you're in, but men and women have to hit a certain physical standard, and it's got to be the same. And of course, the liberals are offended at everything. They want everyone to be fat and unhealthy. But they're admitting now, we're getting the left to admit, right, that men and women aren't equal physically, because Hegseth said, maybe this means that some women aren't going to make it. And that's okay, because this is life and death. Yet these are the same liberals, these idiots that put grown men in women's sports. Make it make sense.
Liberals they do so much that's just contradictory to their own beliefs. I mean, they're trying to defend the policy one week, and the same thing, they defend the policy one week, they use something else which contradicts the policy they were using over here. Like, well, it can't be both ways, man. Which way is it? There really is just no common sense to whatever, quote, logic they try to apply. And I've always said liberalism is based on sympathy and pity. They're completely emotional people. They do not base their beliefs on logic. It is simply, I feel sorry for the lowly immigrant. I feel sorry for the poor people. I feel sorry for the environment. I feel sorry for everybody. It's based on raw emotion. It's never based on logistics, facts, common sense. That's not where any of their belief system comes from. That's when you try to apply logic to a situation that says, okay, if you're 40% BMI and you can't do a single push-up, you're not going to deal with the FBI. Okay, that's common sense. Duh. Well, what about the poor boy? No, we can't have it. And then their emotions kick in. They think, oh, well, Pete Hegseth, what do they always call us? We're mean. We're right. Mean-spirited. We're heartless. Why? Because we have common sense that says if you can't do a single push-up and you're got 40% BMI, that you can't be it. There's something else you could do, just not this, okay?
Right.
I never complained about, that I only ran like a 4.9 40, that I wasn't invited to play D1 college football. I would much rather play football than baseball. I love football and I love baseball. I just was not good enough to play football. But I was good at something else. I was good at baseball. And if it wasn't baseball and they released me in A-ball and I never made it to the big leagues, I would have something else I was good at. I wouldn't have complained and bitched and pissed and moaned at Atlanta Braves and, said, you guys are mean for cutting me. Well, Johnny, you have a 7 ERA. I mean, you're not good enough, okay? I mean, at some point, you just got to put your big boy pants on, accept the fact this is just not where I'm supposed to be.
So
liberals can't do that. When they're not allowed to be where they want to be, someone else is mean to them, not you're unqualified.
Totally. What was your NFL team? What was who did you root for? That this could have been your team.
Do I have to say?
Yes.
The Falcons.
I thought you might say that, but I didn't know if that was going to be your answer. If you were good enough,
would melt down the Super Bowl. That's the Falcons right there.
If you could have played in the NFL, would you have wanted to play for the Falcons or some other team?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess I would have.
In another
All I
life.
really want to do was play for Georgia, play for University of Georgia. And I had a baseball scholarship to play there, but I gave it back. But if I could play football at University of Georgia, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be cool. You know, I want to talk to you about toxic masculinity because this is something that the left talks about, but I feel like a lot of people have woken up to a lot of the things that the left was saying. You know, people have woken up to the COVID lie, the George Floyd lie, the toxic masculinity lie, the fat is beautiful lie. But when it comes to men and masculinity, we've seen a lot of young men kind of come into their own and own this. They are proud to be conservative now. They are proud to be men.
I've seen a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot to do with Charlie Kirk. Yeah, a big push on that.
Yeah. How do we
men should do that right there? That's what men should be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Charlie Kirk set an amazing example. How do we get more young men to get into sports and to be proud, strong, respectable men again?
I think first thing is either not caring, not being afraid, or just saying the hell with it about possibly being canceled if you don't.
Yeah.
You know, if I do this, then some of the population may come down on me for being toxic, toxically masculine, and so I'm gonna, I'm just gonna sit here and look at TikTok all day and get paler and paler by the day and fatter by the week. I think just say I want to do this, and I don't really care who in my school, my group of peers, has a problem with it. Blank you, I'm going to do it anyway. What I want to do.
Do you follow Keith Olbermann on X?
Absolutely not. A fucking clown.
Have you seen his fall? His fall off needs to be studied. He went from, calling highlights on ESPN. Now he's a failed liberal mouthpiece. What happened to him?
I'm just like what you're talking about now, what you're alluding to now. I think liberalism, people are finally just getting sick of it. I mean, look at the Rosie O'Donnells of the world. The only place where she is relevant is on the Greg Gutfeld show about twice a week. They pull her fat ass up there and just heckle her roundly. It is such fodder, and Gutfeld is such a comic genius. They were on her like 2 nights ago. I mean, that's the only place that she's relevant. I mean, she was a movie star back in the day. And I think people are getting so sick, especially the older ones. You're just like an old crying, get off my lawn, curmudgeon, if you will, to use an old guy word.
Yeah.
Getting into an old guy. So I think people are just like, shut the blank up. You're just a Debbie Downer. We're tired of your mouth. Just stop it already. I mean, how much more shit can you complain about? I mean, you go around these people and it's just like a perpetual just black cloud falls around. It's a black cloud of depression. Follows these people around. They're never happy. They have anything positive to say. It's always just complain, great. If your life is so bad, step in front of a fucking bus. Otherwise, shut the hell up. Jesus.
It is so weird to see the Rosie O'Donnells, the Keith Olbermanns, and you see all these protests, and the protesters are older now. It's like the parties are flipping in this way where it used to be, conservatives were the older generation and all the young kids were liberals. And now it seems to be flip-flopping where it's like all the boomers are they've got TDS and all the young kids are going to save us, hopefully.
Yeah, let's. I guess they're trying to. Yeah, I keep saying I'm 50. I'll be 51 in like 3 weeks. I still kind of like think back to stuff I did when I was 25 and 30 years old. I'm like, I even still think I can do some of this stuff. I'm not dumb to actually try, but I think some of these, these gray, dingy, dank people that are like their late 60s, they're hearkening back to like stories of what they either themselves did in the 60s. We're taking the street, we're protesting Vietnam. They're trying to get some aspect of their youth back when they were going to Woodstock back in the 70s or the 60s, when they were protesting the Vietnam War. They're trying to get some of this back to like reinvigorate their just, cold, dead, useless lives in some way. And I get it. When you get older, getting old sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. It does. I'm actually looking forward to getting my knee injected with gel on Friday and having back surgery in like 2 weeks. I'm like, I can't wait. Thank God my body is falling apart. So yeah, getting old stinks. And you want to do anything you can to like relive your youth. And I guess reliving their youth to these idiots is let's take it to the street again, power to the people.
I guess so.
To them, that's like, reliving the good old days,
Maybe the paycheck makes it a little sweeter, and that's what's getting them out there.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But,
Absolutely.
Bill Maher recently was saying that he thinks that Stephen A. Smith should run for president. President Trump kind of opened the door to outsiders. What do you think of Stephen A. Smith?
President Trump is a businessman, a very successful businessman. And I've been on Stephen A's show a number of times. I did a fantasy football league with Stephen A. on his show about 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't dislike Stephen A., but he's a TV personality. That's all he is. He has no clue economically, foreign policy, and Trump did, because good God, Trump built a, $1 billion empire, developed in who knows how many countries. And when you develop, that's what I've been doing the last 20 years for retired baseball. I developed real estate. I built apartment complexes and big townhome deals and dirt deals and shopping centers and, all kinds of stuff. And each municipality you go to, they have different rules and different regulations, and you got to schmooze the right people, the mayor here, the city councilman there. And I can't imagine going to another country. And you talk about like different laws, like customs and traditions, and that, you're developing a big resort piece of property in Ireland like Donald Trump has done. I can't imagine, what you have to go through to get your feet under you over there, much less developing from South Florida to North Carolina. Those two differences. But Trump has been doing that since, the 80s. And that experience right there, what I like to use here. I guess it prefaces you for running a country, because you've run a multi-billion-dollar company that is present all over the world and how many different continents. That sort of grooms you to be president. Getting on ESPN and saying ridiculous stuff about LeBron James does not groom you to sit down and negotiate with Benjamin Netanyahu or Xi Jinping. It just doesn't.
Who do you think is going to run in 2028? Do you think it's going to be Vice President J.D. Vance taking the helm?
So.
And then who do you think is going to be on the Democrat side?
Ricketts. Who's their bullpen? Seriously, who was their bullpen?
That's a great question.
AOC, that fucking moron.
Gavin Newsom.
I got hammers. Newsom, he's got good hair. I'll give him that. But, it's just write down his list of California and just go. There you go. That's all the shit you done in California.
Yeah.
Maybe a chance now, guy.
I think they're screwed. Really, I do.
Yeah.
Well, John, you are a legend. You're a great storyteller. You are awesome. You've got a new podcast, so tell everyone about it. Where can they find it?
Yeah, it drops every Thursday night. It's 6 o'clock Eastern. It's called Uncaged, the John Rocker podcast. Our 7th episode goes tomorrow. Doing real well so far. We're on Spotify, Apple, obviously YouTube. But yeah, it's check it out. Uncaged, the John Rocker podcast. And you can also follow me on at It's John Rocker on X.
And is it just unfiltered takes? Is it sports? Is it politics? Is it just...
it's all over. I've had John Rich of Big and Rich. Had him on there. Will Clark has been on there. Colt Ford has been on there. Trying to think who we got coming up. Got quite a few Hall of Fame guys coming up. John Daly has promised me an interview. So John, I was at his bar opening about a month ago. He better get his badass on there. But it's folks like that. It's everything from music to athletes. I've got a woman coming on tomorrow's show, Alex Hugo. She was a 2-time All-American at Georgia. As one, I can't top of my head right now, I can't think, but she's USAA women's baseball, 2-time player of the year in women's baseball, and she's actually on the board of directors starting a women's baseball league. She's got a fantastic story, and because I'm an obnoxious Georgia fan and she's a damn good dog, then we had a good conversation.
I absolutely love that. Well, I know you're a Florida man now. I'm in Florida. If you ever want to get together to play golf or, you're welcome on this podcast anytime. This has been absolutely lovely. Thank you so much.
Where are you guys at?
We're Southeast Florida.
Okay.
So if you come down here, we'll play golf. How's that?
Yeah, you're Jupiter or something, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky bastard. I spent 6 years in Palm Beach for spring training. What a fantastic area. From Stewart down to Boca. It's just the best. It really is.
Amen. We're in the best state that we could possibly live in. So especially
that area. I'm
escape.
up in the Panhandle. You know, I like your area a little better though. It's great.
All right. Well, come down and visit us anytime. You're welcome on the podcast anytime. This has been so awesome. John Rocker, thanks for being here.